We need to make a decision tonight. The stakes are too high to wait.
I understand, but we need to consider all angles. Rushing could be a mistake.
The moment everyone else had gone home and the office lights dimmed to a tired yellow, the truth finally cracked the silence. The powerful woman who ran the company stood by the window, shoulders trembling, and whispered something that sounded like a confession she had been carrying for years. "No one wants to date me." That was when the air changed, when pain that had nothing to do with boardrooms or profits finally surfaced, and a single father sitting across from her realized this was not a business meeting at all, but a turning point neither of them had seen coming. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet love that changes lives, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Carter had learned how to read rooms the way other people read books. As a single dad, as a man who had been laid off twice and rebuilt himself from nothing, he understood silence, stress, and the kind of exhaustion that didn't show on the surface. When he joined Meridian Solutions as a junior logistics coordinator, he never expected to end up working directly under Olivia Bennett, the company's fiercely private CEO. She was known for her sharp mind, impossible standards, and an emotional distance that made even senior executives nervous. To most people, Olivia was untouchable. To Ethan, she looked lonely in a way he recognized too well. Ethan's life outside work revolved around his 8-year-old son, Noah. Mornings were rushed breakfasts, mismatched socks, and pep talks about spelling tests. Nights were homework at the kitchen table, cheap takeout, and stories before bed. Dating had slipped quietly out of Ethan's life after his wife passed away years earlier. Grief had hollowed him out, and responsibility filled the space. He wasn't looking for love. He was just trying to survive with dignity and raise a good kid. Olivia noticed Ethan not because he was extraordinary, but because he was steady. He didn't flatter her, didn't gossip, didn't flinch when deadlines tightened or tempers rose. When others avoided her gaze, Ethan met it calmly, asked practical questions, and delivered results without drama. Over time, she started calling him into meetings more often, trusting his judgment, leaning on his quiet reliability. The office noticed, and whispers followed, but Ethan stayed focused. To him, she was his boss, nothing more. What no one saw was what happened after hours, when Olivia stayed late, staring at spreadsheets she didn't need to review, avoiding an empty penthouse she hated returning to. Her success had come at a cost she rarely admitted. Her marriage had ended during her rise to the top, not because of ambition alone, but because illness had crept in and changed everything. Treatments, surgeries, scars, and fear had reshaped her body and her confidence. She carried that history like a secret she believed made her unlovable. The night everything shifted was supposed to be a routine discussion about a delayed contract. Ethan stayed late because that was who he was, because overtime meant extra groceries, because responsibility didn't clock out at 5. Olivia sat across from him, hands clasped tightly, eyes tired in a way no makeup could hide. The tension in the room had nothing to do with work. When she finally broke down, it wasn't dramatic, but it was raw, the kind of honesty that spills out when pretending becomes too heavy. She revealed the reason she kept everyone at a distance, the reason relationships ended before they began. In a moment of trembling vulnerability, she lifted her shirt just enough to reveal the truth she believed made her unworthy of love, the long, pale scars from a mastectomy, the evidence of a battle she had fought alone and survived at great personal cost. To her, those scars were a sentence, proof that no one could truly want her once they knew. Ethan did not react the way she expected. There was no shock, no pity, no awkward retreat. There was only a deep stillness, the kind that comes when a person understands pain without needing explanation. He had watched cancer take his wife piece by piece. He had memorized hospital hallways, learned how to be strong while falling apart inside. Scars, to him, were not something to fear. They were proof of survival. He told her, without romance or pressure, that he wasn't going anywhere. Not as a man chasing something. Not as an employee obligated by power dynamics. But as a human being who understood what it meant to be broken and still show up every day. That promise landed between them like a quiet oath, heavier than any declaration of love. From that night on, something softened. Olivia didn't suddenly become warm or outgoing, but the wall she had built cracked enough to let light in. She started leaving the office earlier, asking Ethan about Noah, listening when he spoke. Ethan, in turn, found himself caring in a way he hadn't planned. Not romantically at first, but protectively, respectfully, with patience. Their connection grew slowly, almost invisibly. There were shared lunches, late-night emails that drifted from work into life, small moments of understanding that felt rare and precious. Ethan never crossed a line. He never made her feel like she owed him anything. That restraint mattered more than he knew. The real test came when rumors surfaced. Someone leaked that the CEO had a serious medical history, twisting the truth into something ugly. Board members whispered about image and stability. Olivia faced the possibility of being forced out of the company she had built with her own hands. The old fear returned, louder than ever, telling her she was damaged, replaceable, alone. Ethan stood by her through it all. He helped her prepare presentations, coached her through sleepless nights, reminded her of her strength when she forgot it herself. He brought her into his real life, introducing her to Noah, not as a romantic partner, but as someone who mattered. Watching Olivia kneel to Noah's level, listening to his stories with genuine interest, something healed in both of them. When the board meeting finally came, Olivia didn't hide. She spoke openly about her illness, her recovery, and the resilience it had given her. She refused to be ashamed. The room changed. Truth has a way of doing that. She kept her position, not because of sympathy, but because of respect. In the aftermath, when the crisis passed and life slowed down, Ethan faced a decision of his own. Loving someone again meant risking loss, reopening wounds he had carefully stitched shut. But standing in his small kitchen one evening, watching Olivia help Noah with homework, he understood something simple and profound. Love didn't erase pain. It gave it meaning. Their relationship never looked like a fairy tale. It was cautious, imperfect, built on honesty instead of fantasy. Olivia learned that her body did not define her worth. Ethan learned that staying didn't mean forgetting the past. It meant honoring it by choosing the present. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like the video, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear that they are not broken beyond love. Your engagement helps stories of compassion reach the people who need them most. Before the ending, we ask you from the heart to comment one simple word below: hope. Years later, when people spoke about Olivia Bennet, they still mentioned her success, her leadership, her brilliance. But those closest to her spoke about something else entirely. They spoke about the woman who learned to believe she was worthy of love again, and the single father who stayed when walking away would have been easier. And in a world that so often teaches us to run from scars, their story stood quietly as proof that sometimes, the bravest thing anyone can do is stay.